you see any misses?
Yeah, I know. It's me.
Have you found any?
I ain't really looked.
Oh. Have a whip round, and as long as I get to the aeroplane I can turn left, I'll go anywhere you send me. Well, are there fields you haven't found yet?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Would you like me to send you a map? 23rd of July, we're up in Lincolnshire. The team stayed up here last night. They'll be staying up again tonight, and then hopefully they'll finish the Barley tomorrow. If the clouds are going quite dark, so we're rather hoping it lets them finish. Lorries are carting it back from here. It's 71 miles away from our main base in Cambridge. So they're doing about 3 loads each, taking it back to the farm, and it's being processed there by Steve Gordon and Eliza. And they're moving the combines around in separate fields at the moment. They're quite small up here, the fields, so we try not to have them on top of each other. They're rowing up, ready for baling as well. Cropping up here this year is wheat, barley and oats. Next year we've got beans in the mix, and last year we had beans as well. So it's just the way the rotation lands. We have got some spring barley up here where we sprayed off some winter barley, and then actually re-drilled a spring just because we weren't happy with the overall stand. And it'll be interesting to see whether that was the right thing to do or whether that was actually a mistake. So we're getting through it. So luckily tomorrow we'll have, by rain forecast at 2 o'clock, we're hoping if we have a bit of luck, we'll finish by 12 o'clock and we'll finish it just ahead of the rain. So fingers crossed we have some luck. This morning I woke up to rain in Cambridge and there was no rain here. So we wouldn't have harvested in Cambridge today, but we managed to harvest here. So that's the benefit of having the farms in different locations, because we've got different weather patterns, and the efficiency of being able to run the machinery only works, of course, as long as you've got the machinery in the right place at the right time. Otherwise, if your machinery is where it rained, and you've got then the choice of whether to move it or not. Just to the left of us, we've got a gypsum pile which has grown, which will be applied as soon as the bells have been collected. And those lorries are still coming in, bringing the gypsum in. So we've got some fertiliser gypsum going on the fields up here, and as well as some Limex. So it's quite busy. The hedge cutters running here. Richard Elkington and his team are currently hedge cutting, getting cleared up around the outside of the fields, ready before the cultivation team come, and they set upon these fields and get them ready for what will be a break crop after barley. We always grow the barley as a second cereal and then follow it with a break crop. We're in Lincolnshire. All 4 combines are now made it up here. 2 came up here first thing this morning. They left at 6, got up here. The other 2 finished off another farm. They've then got up here now, and they've started in a separate block across the road. So all the combines together and the lorries will come together. We're just, myself and Jimmy and Tom are just getting the accommodation nice for everybody that's staying up here. So Sandy's going to be going backwards and forwards because his baby's overdue, so in case it comes in the middle of the night he can get to the hospital. Everybody else is staying up here so they can maximise on the working hours and not travelling up and down the road, so we can get on with harvest. We can maximise on the harvesting in the fields. So we're getting the food ready, so we're getting all their breakfast cereal. Jimmy's been bringing up their food that Carol's made for them, so we've got spare food here as well. And there's also the hot meals that come each day. I'll give you a bit of a show around this place. So this is a 2-bedroom with 3 beds. And this was a derelict house when I took the farm on in tenancy for, and it had a tree growing through the middle. My children call it Dead Bird Cottage, because when I first got in and showed them, it had obviously dead birds in it, which horrified them as they weren't very old. So this is the kitchen, it's all done up. We'd put on Airbnb as well, out of season, so we block book it for harvest, and then it goes on Airbnb, which helps fund it. Come and have a look at the sitting room. This is the sitting room. Turns out into a sofa bed as well, so we've got extra accommodation in here. It's a really smart little place. It's a beautiful, like the Cotswold stone effect outside, which is a sort of seam that goes through Stamford. So it's a really pretty stone and a slate roof. And then it's quite a sharp staircase that you wouldn't want to be having too many drinks and coming up and down here. This is a really smart main bedroom, nice big bed overlooking onto the farm and across the fields. And then on the other side there's 2 beds, which, you know, really good for children to come and stay. quite good fun. 2 little single beds, which yeah, so it's a fun little place. So the guys will stay in here tonight, and there's another accommodation just across the yard. They'll be in there as well, so who gets here first gets the nicest rooms. It's a really smart little sweet place right up here, really quiet village, quiet roads, good place for children, you know, just no traffic. You can actually stand in the road, which you can't do down in Cambridge, but so it's a nice peaceful place to come and stay. Good for the guys. They pull in here, get the head down, get back to work, and then they get home. They get paid to stay up here as well, so they got the added bonus of being paid to be away from home.
G'day, I'm Tristan Kincarenny and I'm one of the chaser bin drivers this year from Australia. The team currently is heading over to Lincolnshire as we speak, and for me, I'm going to stay here until my tractor is fixed. Just before I got a flat tyre, the Vario grip in the tyre let go and air was gushing out of the valve, and which led to the tyre being flat and being driven on while it's flat. So to be on the safe side of things, we've decided to put 2 new front tyres on that tractor because of that flat tyre has caused the sidewall of the current tyres to be weakened and could hurt / injure other motorists on the road. So we want to try and be as safe as we can on the road and look out for the general community of the UK. So we've just had the new tyres arrived, ended up costing sort of a 5,000, which is not a sort of a cheap sort of solution, but we wanted to make sure that we're as safe as possible. So as soon as the fitter comes into the paddock, we'll be fitting these bad boys on, and we'll be I'll be trying to chase up the others, trying to catch up to them on their way to Lincolnshire.
So we're just coming up the A1, which is our sort of main artillery route to get up to Lincolnshire. Sandy and Richard and the chaser bins, they've just pulled over at the services at Peterborough. They do that just for half an hour, 45 minutes, just so they can stretch their legs and let the tracks and tyres cool down, because, you know, it's a lot of heat at 40k on the combines and on the tracks, just whirling up the tarmac for several hours. So we always pull over there as a matter of course, just to allow them to cool down, and they get going again. It's a bit of a bind because you've got the A1M, so they have to go around the side routes on the old road and many roundabouts, then through Yaxley, and then coming back on just for a small section of A1M. So here we go. Here is the first chaser bin. We've got number 2. There's James Gray. And we've got Richard. And they leave gap in between so cars can get in if they need to, but on a dual carriageway they just go straight past them. Here's Sandy. Yeah. His baby is now 2 days late. So he's told his wife that she can't have a baby yet, but anybody that has a wife or has had babies knows it doesn't work like that. Anyway, and so they're doing well. The extra chaser bin is just having some tyres changed because unfortunately one of the tyre walls had got hot from being run flat. The Varigrip part on the fent had split a hole in it, let the air out, and it's got hot from a low pressure in the tyre, completely heated up, so that the tyre on the side had got these sort of heated up moulds all the way round. And I sent it off to have a look at the tyre company just to advise me what to do, and they said, you know, they advised I don't drive it up the A1 because in case the tyre blows out. So we had to have a pair, and a pair of tyres is basically fitted is over £5,000, so that was not well received when we realised that just a valve had cracked on the Fendt tractor, causing the tyres to run flat and be damaged to that extent. And there's probably about 60 to 70% tread on the tyre, so it's prematurely being thrown away. We're going to use the second one, which is okay, to probably put on the sprinter drill. We've just got to wait to see if it ends up with a friend between now and September. But we have to change them in pairs as a rule, because you don't want to be having different wear rates for the diffs, etc. on these. So you don't want to say a 50% tread on one wheel and 100% on the other. So that's why we have to change them in a pair. Otherwise you'll find one will slip more than the other, and then it winds up in the diff. So we know that this crop is going to lose money.
Correct.
And I think we pretty much agree the barley crop as a whole is going to be a negative.
Correct.
We don't know what the end result is yet, purely because we haven't finished it all. But this is going to be the poorest block.
This is going to be a poor block.
The Cambridge block is now complete, and now we're up in Lincolnshire.
Yeah.
So the guys have driven up there. The 40k combines, interestingly, have made a big difference in the time it takes to get here. They do about 42k, which is a tremendous improvement from about 28 of the.
Yeah.
But for my thinking is we're still going to pay the rent, because you can't go to the landlord and say, I've run a bad year, sorry, I can't pay the rent. You're still going to pay the rent. So is it a bigger loss to have made the decision, as many did in Lincolnshire, not to crop and to leave the land barren, or to actually put the crop in like we did, where, we did force it in poor conditions, and we've got a poor outcome. But interestingly, even the better barley was drilled in better conditions, because it got that big rain. I don't think the yield is much dissimilar.
No.
But we've got barley which is done 9.1 on the plough-based land, and then we've got other barley which is done 5 something.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of barley which is hovering around 7 tonne a hectare.
Yeah.
I could bring the average down even a bit lower.
I think we've been faced with these issues since the day we drilled in, and actually we didn't know we were going to lose money at that point, but from then on in,
we would have predicted we'd lost the amount of yield.
But from then on in, we've been making decisions as to which is going to make us the biggest lot, the least loss.
Well, you spent the chemicals accordingly, haven't you?
Yeah. We farmed it accordingly, but right through the season. Yes, and right through the season, we've been faced with these issues. Do we carry on with the crop, accepting we're going to make a loss, but it won't be as big a loss? Because, of course, the minute you put it in the ground, you've done all the work, you paid for the seed, you paid for the pre-emergence chemicals.
Done all the cultivations.
Yeah, so you've got costs there already. So do we continue and try and make the best of the crop we've got in the ground?
Well, as farmers, we live on hope.
Yeah.
The price is going to go up, and the yield will be better than we think it will be.
But even with a full crop we forced in the ground, had the weather come anywhere near decent, or even a decent spring, we would have made something of it.
But we made the decision on some of the fields here that they were poor.
Yeah.
And we sprayed them off. Yeah. There was that small window in the spring, and we drilled them with spring barley.
Yeah.
Looking at them, time will tell, but whether or not that will actually yield any more as a gross margin, it may be better to carry it on with this crop, and then, as we always do, the famous saying in farming, next year will be better. It's kept me going for 25 years. Next year's going to be better. Just don't know when next year is.
But you talk about this spring barley. I think that's exactly what we did. We went through each field and made that decision field by field. Black grass, the barley was poor, the black was rubbish. So we did actually make different decisions for different fields, and hopefully we hit it about right, and we've lost the least amount of money we can. We were never going to make a profit.
By next week, we are, or by the end of this week, if the weather allows us, it's dark over here, so it feels slightly threatening, the weather, we will actually know what the barley has achieved across the board. This is interesting. This is 18%.
Yeah. It doesn't look fair.
And we were back in Cambridge. I know there's typically there's 2 weeks difference in harvesting date, just within 70 miles, which you wouldn't think, but you have that difference, actually just come outside. And we've got a trying cost now as well, but there are knock-on effects. If we do nothing and the weather gets poor again, we either start losing it on the heads, the loss gets bigger, the baling team can't get on, the cultivation team can't get on, we can't reset for next year.
No.
And I think what we've got to do, looking at these stubbles, because it's a really good indication of the level of infestation of blackgrass needs, is actually we've got to have a really big window of soil without the chit to grow that rubbish.
Couldn't agree.
Spray it off to get new coming.
Yeah.
But it won't surprise you, Michael, but I want to drill Lincolnshire first.
No, it doesn't surprise me. But I don't think you're drilling bees until at least the 10th of October. If I have to run off with all the tractor kicks, I will.
Michael, I want to go on holiday half-term October, and I do not want to be fretting about drilling. This last year, every day we woke up, today the day we're going to go drilling. I mean, who can live like that?
If the truth, I think most of us wait to go on holiday now and not come back till we finish drilling.
Yeah, that's true. Well, actually, if you're all happy to have a whip round, as long as I get to the aeroplane, I can turn left. I'll go anywhere you send me.
Oh God, that's...
It's got to be hot though. It's got to be hot. Not going to the Antarctic. When you look across it though, it looks clean.
Yeah.
But when you look down,
Yeah.
the reality is it is thin, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is why I'm so... Yes, it is thin.
This is your problem.
Yeah, no, they're small, aren't they?
Look at it.
Yeah.
I mean-
What's that? An inch and a half?
I mean, normally
I'm looking at the meat.
you'd be better
The
at measuring that than I would. But you see, okay, look, that one there
Yeah.
is double the length. But even there's huge variability going on. Look,
It's swamped. It was swamped at the wrong stage. It was growing in a swamp.
it's almost aborted, hasn't it?
It was growing in a swamp.
Look at that. Look
I
at
think-
that, though. Look,
Yeah.
that's almost like it's completely brittle.
But I think the wet spring did it nearly as much damage as the autumn
Do
did.
you know what, Michael? We'd lose this.
I know. It wants combining, definitely.
In a good wind, you would lose this if we didn't. I know it's 18%, but
Yeah.
if we didn't get on with this, but the grains though, I don't know what the bushel weight's going to be this farm. We'll have to ask Gordon, but
I think the grape looks good.
so look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think it's gone into survival mode and just said abort?
I think that was in the spring when it was at its critical stage in the spring and it was still stood in a swamp. It's just...
Well, in theory, if we want double the yield, and there's only half here, you could argue the plant count is okay, but we've literally lost half, so that's where the half of the yield's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it is actually... because the other thing is, normally, because they're so big, they're more like this, aren't they? They're more bracketed over.
Yeah, they are.
And currently these are here, but when you grab them, they're just... So they're ready to go on the floor.
Yeah. Interestingly, it does look... You mentioned it looking clean, and it does look clean, but you look in the bottom, there are odd bits of grassweed. This is why I like...
But it's fresh.
But this is why I like hybrid barley. Now I've got some conventional, I won't mention varieties because I've got some conventional which look really good, but all the grass weeds have grown out on top of it, whereas they don't with this stuff.
Because of the fact it's
Just so much of it, it grows really tall. I mean, this actually doesn't look that tall now, but earlier in the season, before it came over, it was really tall. The grass weeds are still there. Some of the grass weeds are still there. They just don't do any good because they don't get any sun.
I can't believe how brittle it is. I mean, the stuff in Cambridge wasn't this brittle.
No.
This is extraordinary. This has the potential to be on the floor.
It wants to be in the shed, doesn't it?
Yeah. We get the wrong weather. I mean, there's a bit of wind now. I'm amazed how... Well, I think the yield's going to be lower here, isn't it?
Lower than...
Cambridge.
Well, this field won't be too bad. Anything that way won't be very special at all. We'll get on the other side of the road, it'll be better.
Right, okay.
And it'll get progressively better as you get... Interestingly, the further you get back to the yard, the earlier it's drilled.
Oh, yeah.
And the earlier drilled stuff looks a different crop.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to change our mind now about growing barley as a second cereal? At the moment, I know we've got this crop failure. And I do view it as a failure because we know it's under cost of production, but also anything that does half the yield is a failure.
Yeah.
I'm still in my mind thinking that out of 10 years we've got one bad, effectively we should grow again.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because I mean the other choices are we put a second wheat in,
Yeah, which won't cope
or we
with the
drop a
grass
second
as well.
cereal. So if we were to relook at this year, The only thing we could have done to date is not influenced necessarily by the drilling date, because even the earlier drill stuff has done really badly because of the prolonged rain and the difficult wet season.
The earlier stuff's done better. And I'll tell you why, because it got in the ground and got away before it got wet.
One got bigger.
Yeah.
That's advocating earlier drilling.
And not what this is not what every agronomist would tell you, but actually with hybrid barley,
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about going late, because you'll not go late enough to do any good at the black grass anyway. I'd sooner get the crop in the ground and get it
Make it
established.
competitive
Make it
in that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we're drilling in the first week in September, it won't be too much.
Do you think if we'd need to look at the overlap maps, but do you think if we'd gone, say, 30-40% more on seed rate, we would have had a better outcome?
I wouldn't. Sorry, yes, it probably would this year. Yeah.
Not on a.
But don't base all your decisions on 1 year's results. Base it on the last 10.
But we have to learn.
We have to learn.
But we've never had this.
No. So
And actually, because barley is a cereal as a hybrid, is relatively new, isn't it, in that sense? Because it's only been around.
Well, it's not been around that long, but it's been around long enough for us to know what we're doing now.
But we've never had this extreme.
We've had some really good hybrid crops, really good hybrid barley. Sometimes
We've done over 10.
Yeah, yes, we have, and sometimes they've been up there with wheat on the profitability. And every year you have one species that really lets you down. This will be the one. The wheats aren't as bad. The beans are looking excellent.
They look made.
The mustards looks like the best crop we've ever grown.
Yeah.
The peas. I mean,
okay, depends which way you look. You look that way, it looks great. You look at that field, not so good.
It looks mediocre. It doesn't look a disaster.
Well, Glyn came in last night from spraying them, and he said Corket Hill was amazing, and I think that's because he drilled it. And then in the next field, he said, no, that's no good. And the next one, so the one he drilled was excellent.
Yeah.
He is right, though. The other ones are poor.
Mm.
And the area, though, I mean, thank God Corket's the biggest one.
Yeah.
3 contractors doing hedge cutting for us annually. And in Lincolnshire, where we are at the moment, we've got Richard Elkington and his team. And since we came here in 2017, they've been doing the hedges for me. And the first year, they had to get them in shape. And then after that, they're just nicely trimming them, keeping the farm looking right and making it a nice area environmentally. I mean, I drive around and I'm sort of pleased with how the hedges look and how the overall ambience of the farm is, and and how nature is benefiting from this style of management. And then in Bedfordshire we've got Chris. He's doing the trimming there, and we'll hopefully see him when we go to that farm. And then down in Cambridge we've got Carl, and Carl comes down from Nottinghamshire, and I think he's been cutting the hedges now 5-6 years. The hedges here, these were cut last year, so little and often just trims, just lock the wispy stuff off. All the berries behind are still there. And it doesn't shake a hedge to death, so anything that's nesting or was living in there, etc., it's still got a nice canopy all the way round. It's still a nice environment for them to be in, away from the predators. If you leave that hedge for 2 or 3 years and then cut it, physically you shake it to death. You take all the leaves off, get back to knocking back the what's now 2 inch or 1 inch, growth. Whereas if you cut it annually, you just take off something that's half the size of your little finger in diameter.
Yeah, go for it.
So I put these barriers in. This is a green lane, a by lane, so we have to keep it open. But put the barriers in, and they're at that height, so that the combines can actually lift over the top. And we'll cut the hedge either side of the barrier, say 1 metre high, just so that we've got about 15 metres in total. So the combines can just lift up, go straight over the top, and that prevents us having to have these really big gateways when we're going in a straight line. That's not the case when we're coming up, turning off the road and going sideways in. But between the fields like that, we'll have the barriers there, and then we can go straight in, and that means we don't have to take the header off. And if taking a header off and moving between fields, that can be a timely problem. I mean, that can take, you know, you've got to, if you're combining, you finished over there, you've got to drive all the way back to where you left your trolley, which is dead time, drop your header off, pitch it back on the back to take it to the next one. Well, before you know it, you've lost 20 minutes. So getting between fields, you know, especially the smaller ones, you need to be able to do it with the header still on. Otherwise, the inefficiency, you'd almost have to employ somebody sitting on a header trailer full time, just moving things along to try and aid it, which is not cost effective. So while we're waiting for them to come, I'll show you what they've got to eat. So Carol's got them some nice fruit. They got some coleslaw. They got their butter in there. Got their bread roll. They've got a lasagna. Look at this lasagna. Look at that. They've got salad, a nice salad in here. So healthy eating, not just rubbish, but proper healthy eating. Hot drink in here. I give them a sachet of milk or coffee or tea, whichever one they prefer. And these are insulated, so if they don't want to eat these quite yet, they don't have to. And then a nice bottle of water. And then the guys which are staying up here in Lincolnshire, we've got them an extra food as well for night time, so that when they come home they can have something else. You haven't had to stop, have you?
No, we have. We just stopped in.
When? Just then?
Yeah, we've probably been stopped for half an hour, 45 minutes.
You've actually been stopped?
We've been stopped, haven't we? Yeah.
Been stopped ages.
Oh, Richard's
Two
still
or
going.
3 times.
No, we've been stopping umpteen times because we run out of lorries. All chases are full, combines are full.
Right. Well, I thought. Well, there was J1 lorry which was over on the other pad.
Was there?
Yes.
That's the one I just wanted before I came here.
Well, there should be some more here. I didn't know you'd been stopped.
Yeah, we've been stopped.
But that's why I said to stop going in the big ones and go over to the.
Yeah, we went into the little ones, and then when we had umpteen lorries, we went back into the bigger lot.
Yeah.
Then we caught up and we came back.
So we
over.
timed it wrong.
Yeah.
Would have been better staying in the. No, we had to go in the big block though, didn't we?
Had to.
We just didn't do it.
We just added.
Did you really stop that long?
Yeah. Yeah. But today, this is the first block that we drilled, which went in ideal conditions, and it always has been good. Look.
Why is it yielding?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, about 9.5.
So
You know who drilled it up here, don't you?
On that.
So if you see any misses,
Yeah, I know. It's me.
have you found any?
I ain't really looked.
Oh. It's quite late on Tuesday night. Just driven back from Lincolnshire. Guys have done well up there. They've been doing 44, 46 hectares each. They would have done over 50, unfortunately. We seem to have exhausted the haulage before we exhausted the combining. So something to sort of reflect on in the morning and trying to get to the bottom of why we hadn't got enough haulage to cope with the amount of combining we'd done, because the guys were so close to doing their 50 hectares each. You know, Sandy was at the top of the leaderboard today and yesterday, and he would have been sort of 3 and a bit hectares away from doing the 50. Thank you to Martin, who's gone the extra mile today. He's gone up there again to get what would be the 4th load, and staying up there with the guys. So I did a bit of a food run, as you would have seen. We've also had an instant where the cameras have come into play on the back and the front of the Hilux, where Jimmy was pulling into a gateway, and the 3rd car crashed into the 2nd car, and then the driver of the 2nd car pulled in and spoke to one of the lorry drivers and said he wanted our details. We then thought, well, hold on, is this where we're going to get a claim? And we then pulled up on the system and recorded that action at that time to clearly show that we were turning safely into the gateway, and it was just the driver 3 crashed into the back of driver 2. So yet again, pleased we've got that system to get rid of a potential insurance claim. Couple of questions that have come through which give a reply to. Drone, why is Tom sitting on the passenger seat flying the drone when they're combining? He does it purely for the range capability of the drone and also for the visibility. 2850 John Deere, I'm delighted I'm not the only one that has a bit of a soft spot for the 2850. But there are, it is a sign of age, of course, when people say, oh yes, my father likes that tractor. Tillage event at Great Everton, yes. Tom and Ed Banks hosted tillage some years ago now. I did actually go to it on the same fields where we had the oilseed rape. Pigs, so question about the pigs. Yes, we had pigs on the farm up until about 1983, and these were some of the show certificates. This one always entertains me, sitting next to where I sit, saying best boar. So I used to have that near Mel's desk, and she didn't find it as entertaining as I did. But so we have them either side. You can look at that one and say Supreme Champion. I much prefer that. But thanks for watching, and we'll see what harvest brings. If we're lucky, we'll finish all the winter barley tomorrow. If we don't get the rain, fingers crossed, we're hoping by 12 o'clock we'll have that all completed. We've got about at least 10 loads left, and then we've got it done. So yeah, fingers crossed tomorrow we'll get it done. Then we can concentrate on looking about, see what wheat's going to be ready. I had a quick look today, and it doesn't look like we're going to be combining wheat anyway, that's for sure, on Thursday.